What's going on, good people? It's your man Dante Miles back in the building. Episode 11 of the High and Outside podcast. We got another full boat today. Before I bring my amazing cast in, as usual, you know where to follow me at October's Own Tay. Follow the Barber's Chair at Barber's Chair Co. on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you tap in with us on the Patreon, patreon.com/Barber's Chair Network. Like I said, 4 very affordable tiers. Just come spend a couple dollars. It would be greatly appreciated. If you want to spend a little more money, slide over to the bcnetshop.com. We got a lot of great merch and things that we're adding continuously throughout the season. There, we know you'll love it, so just check it out. And for all things Barber's Chair Network, for all of our podcasts, all of our work with the Bears, you know, OTAs are about to kick off. I'm sorry, training camp is about to kick off. We just wrapped up OTAs. We got a lot of great work from Scott. Make sure you check out the bcnet.com. But like I said, bro, this is episode 11 of the High and Outside podcast. So let me bring my crew in. How y'all feeling?
I'm doing great, man. I got baseball on in the background. Get to talk about baseball with the homies. Life is very good right now.
I'm feeling good. It's this NBA finals done. NHL is all done. It's the like you said, NFL. We got a little bit to wait on. It's the baseball show.
The Mets are winning right now, so I'm having a good day.
I mean, we've been smacking y'all around lately. I believe the Braves have won the last 4. It's a very, very important end of the month for the Braves. They have 7 against the Mets, and we kick off a 3-game series against the Phillies in Atlanta on Friday. So it's going to be a big week for the Braves.
NLE show for sure this week.
What is it about the Braves that make them always play the Mets like it's their World Series?
I mean, because they damn sure. I mean, lately they haven't been able to do this to the Phillies. So I mean, you got to do it to somebody like that. Yeah, there has to be somebody in your division.
That's their biggest rivals. Would you say the Braves and the Mets? Or I mean, I know the NL East is kind of like it depends on, I guess, who you ask. Right?
For a rivalry, you have to win games.
Yeah,
I don't think the Mets have won enough to qualify for like a rivalry. And like, if we want to look at like the historics of it all, like Larry Wayne Jones Jr., he named his son Shea because he basically went to vacation every time he played the Mets. So this is not a rivalry. This is an ass kicking. But, it's like when little brother gets like a couple one-ups on you. Like,
yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask Sid after Courtney, you asked me, because I think it's really a thing where recently it's been more competitive, but historically it's been, this has been the Braves division, as we all know. Yeah. It's just been up until the last, even though they won 6 in a row, so we can't even say the last 10, but like 10 to 15, it's been just the NL East has been a little wilder and a little less predictable. But speaking of unpredictable, let's get right into the show, bro. This is something I won't say neither of us, all 4 of us predicted both those teams in New York to be doing pretty good this year. And it's not time to ring any 4 alarm fires yet. We're not that concerned. The house isn't completely burned down yet, but the 2 teams in New York have been struggling, bro. The Yankees and the Mets, of course, is what we're talking about. Sid, I'm gonna jump to you first and your Metropolitans. Just tell us what's been going on, man.
Honestly, it feels like it's probably just time for a regression of how good the Mets have started off. Like, baseball is a long season, and I revisit this thought every time. When you watch a lot of baseball, the good is really good, but the ugly is like some of the worst stuff you've ever seen in your life. So I think what the Mets problem is right now is that a lot of what's going on is they're getting short outings from pitching. They have some injured pitchers. And I think we're kind of at a point with Clay Holmes where we're kind of trying to figure out how we can manage his innings while still transitioning to being a starting pitcher. But, that said, Frankie Montas just came back and threw a great game yesterday until the bullpen blew up. Edwin Diaz is still coming back into form, has looked really good. And it's just been dead bats from the lineup from 5 down. If you ask, let's say, Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, and Jeff McNeil, how it's going, you'll probably get a different answer about them personally, as Juan Soto is probably having the best month for a Met in like Mets history. And just broke a record today for 27 times hitting 2 home runs or more in a game. So, Juan Soto's coming into form. His OPS is close to clipping 1,300 for the month of June. So a lot of good, some bad, but I think, the top of this lineup is rounding into who they are. The bottom of the lineup has some things to settle out. Francisco Alvarez defensively has some things to settle out. But 23-year-old catcher, not too far removed from 25 home runs and an 830-plus OPS. No alarms yet, but maybe we should look into the trade deadline to, some reinforcements along with Sean Manaea, who was just shut down again for an oblique injury. And then we have Kodai Senga, who says he's trying to go back on a rehab assignment fairly soon, but the prognosis is still 4 to 5 weeks. So there's a lot going on in Queens.
No, bro, definitely. Courtney, how you feel about what's going on with the Mets right now? Like I said, the expectations were there, even though, when you add, I feel like for me, when you add somebody like Soto, the expectations are always going to shoot through the roof. And a lot of times they'll go higher than what they should actually be. So just tell us what you've seen with the Mets and everything that's going on right now.
No, I mean, Syd was spot on. It's exactly what he said it is. They played such incredible baseball the first couple of months. They had to come back down to earth at some point. And they have. And Juan Soto, though, and it's funny because the way the team has performed and the way he's performed have kind of gone in opposite directions. So that's been a little interesting to see. But, I mean, they're just – as of recent, it feels like they're finding different ways to lose. How many games, Syd, remind me? 10 of their last 11?
10 of their last 11. And I continuously say, if the Mets are losing, I'm having a bad day. So I've had 10 bad days. And we are working on a 12th bad day potentially.
Yeah,
but,
what's the situation? Oh, you're fine. It's the top of the
night. Yeah, no. But again,
it's the top of the Mets are up right now, 7-1. Look at them.
Just like you said,
make sure you have a happy night.
So it's just like you said, the Mets are finding ways to lose baseball games, and with a guy, Jonathan Pintaro, no disrespect to him, I've never seen him pitch in the big leagues before. Probably just
he was in Double-A, wasn't he?
Probably.
I think he was no joke. I think he came from Double-A. And listen, I understand the Mets are having tremendous bullpen issues right now, lots of pitching issues. And listen, they're not very different from anybody. That seems to be a common theme around the league as a whole. If you look at the probable pitching matchups, when I was trying to get the matchups for our weekend series to watch, I was struggling because, oh my gosh, it's just grayed out TBD versus TBD. There's a lot of rotations and bullpens right now in a state of flux. And the Mets are no different, right? So you got to get your arms where you can get them. But no, the Mets have just been finding in the past week or so, just some really incredible ways to lose. And like you said, it doesn't help when, your 5 through 9 hitters are giving you absolutely nothing. And again, give all the credit to guys like Tyrone Taylor, who weren't really supposed to be in that position to begin with. I don't think anybody really in their mind had Tyrone Taylor being the starting center fielder for the New York Mets day in and day out.
It was Jose Siri until fractured tibia.
And now, that 60-day,
Yep.
That 60-day
just transferred to the 60-day.
When did he get transferred to that, by the way?
He started off in the 10-15 and then got transferred. I want to say 2 transactions ago, but the other 2 transactions were bullpen transactions.
Yeah.
One for Ricky Lovelady to go back down and be DFA'd. We brought up Brandon Waddell.
Thank you for the memes, by the way. It was worth all 24 hours.
If the Mets are going to do anything, they're going to be interesting and be childish. So, gotta love them, gotta hate them.
Yeah. But no, them going on this incredible losing streak has really allowed the Braves to sneak their way back in there. Dante, what do you think about the Braves kind of playing their way back into maybe playing their way back into the race for the NL East?
Oh no, they're definitely still there. I think that's not a question at all. They're 9.5 back as of tonight. They'll probably be 10.5 when the game ends. But you're starting to see the people you wanted to pick it up. Ronald Acuna Jr., like I said, he's jumped into the top 4 by outfield voting and an all-star. Spencer Strider's last few starts have been much better than his first 5. And so it's a situation where if you're the Braves, you just need more guys to pick it up. Matt Olson is officially back on his traditional 30 home run, 100 RBI pace. He leads all first basemen in the National League in WAR right now. So I mean, you're starting to get the pieces to play the way you need them to play, and they're doing it against the teams they need to do it against. Like you said, they won up until tonight. They had won their last 4 games against the Mets. You have another one tomorrow to close out the series. And
don't count your chickens before they hatch.
No. You have
Let's say the Mets are finding a way to lose this game as we speak.
I didn't want to say anything.
Okay. Little live update. What's going on? What's happening?
Jonathan. Go for it, Court.
Seconds ago, when I said, Sid, it's 7-1. You should be happy. The guy that they just called up from AA just gave up 2 runs to Ronald Acuna Jr. And now with 2 outs, mind you, there's a runner on first, and I can't tell who that is. Oh, Matt Olson. Wild pitch. Matt Olson up to bat with 1 on and 2 outs. It's a 1-0 count, by the way.
It's a 2.
I'm ahead of you.
I'm ahead of you. And he threw a wild pitch.
Bad, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I got big innings, so. This is.
But no, to answer your question, yes, I absolutely believe
finding ways to lose. If your offense didn't give you this much run support tonight,
it's a bad game.
They would be losing this game. You're absolutely right.
It
did
very Metsian.
I don't want to be like an alarmist. I hate being that person that's like, I think it's time for the closed door players only locker room meeting. Is it time for that?
Nah.
When will it be time?
So I think what we're going through here, like I said, is the growing pains and expectations of a good team. I think all of these teams go through these stretches regardless. The 2015 Mets team, they lost 14 out of 15 at one point in the season, which was the catalyst for the Yoenis Cespedes trade. So I don't think it's time for that yet, because I don't think that like the people who should be doing more are not producing. I think when you are running out Starling Marte for an everyday DH, you're in a difficult place. But that said, Jesse Winker and Mark Vientos are on their way back. You're still getting great third base defense from Brett Beatty. And that was kind of the idea from what you started. Ronald Acuna Jr. or Luis Angel Acuna Jr. Not Luis Angel Acuna. Jesus. He was just moved to Syracuse AAA. He's down there raking because, again, they're just like, we got to get these super talented guys, these reps, along with Brooks Raley on his way back, Drew Smith on his way back. It would ring off as a bit silly to me to say that this is the final straw for this Mets team, to where we have to say, oh no, it's not like, again, that just doesn't ring off to me yet for this team. I believe we're still on pace for 94, 95 wins. We're still, if not in contention, still in possession of first place in the NL East. Like this team is still exactly who we think they are.
Yeah, no, they're a game and a half out of first, and we'll get to that in a second. But Malik, I want to get to you. I'm gonna ask you about both teams in New York. First, since we're on the Mets, we'll talk about the Mets first, what you've seen from them, and then we'll switch it over to the Yankees. But the Yankees have lost. They're 3-7 in their last 10, and I think my biggest issue with the Yankees, before I toss it to you, has been just their approach at the plate during, situational hitting as a whole, like runners in scoring position, Aaron Judge and meaningful at bats. Obviously it's hard to knock a guy who, is average as high as he is in everything he does for that team. But at the same time, it seems like in certain situations, he has just not been able to come up with those big hits. And that's something that we've seen consistently. And we're not even going to tell, like, the drop fly ball in the World Series was one thing. But I mean, it's just with this squad, it just seems like we're still waiting for the Yankees to be the Yankees. I mean, Jazz Chisholm, we've seen the ups and the downs. We've seen, everything with him. And it's just that, Juan Carlo coming back and see what type of impact he'll have. What have you seen from both squads in New York? And like I said, start with the Mets, but then just take it over to the Bronx and everything you've seen with the Yankees lately.
Yeah, well, I mean, they put it perfectly with the Mets. not much more for me to say, and besides that pitching staff needs to get healthy. And I do think they're going to make a move here soon to add to it. I think Senga going on the IL a few days ago, that killed him. He just got back. I don't even know if he lasted 3 starts before he went back on, but I think the Mets make that move. Like y'all said, Acuna's back down in the minors. Alvarez struggling with the batted catcher. I think both those spots they could fill up. Like you said, maybe a more power bat in the outfield, but Taylor, he does play great defense, but maybe that Michael Harris is kind of interested in swapping him to the other side. But again, on the other side, the Braves trying to make a comeback. I'm watching Houston play the Phillies right now, 2 on, 2 outs. Houston's up 1-0, so that gap's gonna shrink for somebody. As for the Yankees, though, we got these stats. Like you said, 3-10 in their last, 3-7 in their last 10. Since 2020, 12 and 27 in extra innings. They leave 4 runners left on base per game and a 0.63 batting average in the 9th inning. And what's crazy with what's going on their stretch right now, Stanton, Belly, Jazz are all playing pretty solid over their last few games. So it is just that coming through in situational hitting. I will say, though, they're playing in Citizens Bank Park in Cincinnati now. That's a weird-ass stadium. Always some weird games going on. They got to see Chase Burns yesterday, and I believe they've lost the last 2 games leading into Wednesday late. It's not complete panic for the Yankees, but what their biggest worry is Tampa Bay and Toronto. Both of them are, less than 3 games back. And then this is their next few series. They got the A's. Then they got the Blue Jays. Then they got the Mets. Then you got a Mariners team fighting for the playoffs. Then you got the Cubs. Then you got the Blue Jays again. Take on Atlanta, Philly, and the Rays. We're going to learn everything we need to know about the Yankees over here down from now till a little bit past All-Star break. That's probably wraps up right around the deadline time, too.
No, it definitely does. And I think that the Brave series is going to be very interesting. Like, every time they come to town, it's always great.
I'm going to say, is that in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's in Atlanta. Sid, how you feeling about the boys in the Bronx?
I'm having a good day, by the way. The Mets did close it out. Boys in the Bronx. Interesting team. I want to stay a bit away from the baseball side because it sounds a bit biased for me. But we look at these teams being acquired and everything, and it begs me to ask the question, Hal Steinbrenner, how much is your soul worth? How much are the Yankees worth? We just saw how the Lakers got moved, the Celtics got moved, and it begs that question for me. And then just on the baseball side, the Yankees are exactly who, people who don't like them think they are in the offseason. I think it's like, yeah, this team is probably good. However, like, playing the margins in the way that they do for a team that is big as they are and the success that they should have. I joked around about it, but like the Yankees' claim to the offseason after losing Juan Soto is that they can say they have 3 MVPs on their team. They do, but yeah, that's it. They do.
We'll see.
Goldie hitting under 0.90 over his last 7, by the way.
Like I said, they have 3 MVPs.
He was scorching to start the season. So
he what? Yeah. So
that's tough. Like you said that earlier, Sid. It's tough when you start out piping hot and then you got to come back to reality because people automatically start panicking. And it's like, bro, we still have a lot of baseball left.
And so we are officially at the halfway mark in Flushing. We are game 81 of 162. That just happened. We're over the halfway mark. The summer solstice was 4 days ago. The days are officially starting to get shorter, as Keith Hernandez and Gary Cohen love to point out every year. This is real baseball time. Like these teams are who they say they are at this point. The NL East is going to be a battle, and the Rays are a really cool team that have like some really cool players going on.
Yeah, bro, you're absolutely right. Speaking of a battle, let's get back into the NFL, that NFC East race. We spoke about it. Like I said, by the end of this game, if Philly can hold on, then they will be only a half. Well, if not Philly, if the Astros can hold on, then Philly will only be a half a game ahead of the Mets after their dub tonight. So how do you feel this recent stretch of baseball? And we'll talk about both clubs, since I gave you my opinion about the Braves earlier. This stretch of baseball from both clubs, how do you think that's going to impact the NL East race? And we can say like we'll because it, like I said, we're at the halfway point. We'll say from now until the All-Star break, like this recent stretch of baseball, how do you think that's going to affect everything we have going on?
Well, with the Braves so far back, they got to win. It's serious nut cutting time early for them. They head start for everybody else. Let's see, the Philly fly out. I'm worried about Philly. I'm worried about, them losing some juice. Schwarber, I believe, is a free agent coming up here soon. You're locked in with Harper and all them, but Aaron, who's it? Wheeler, the one said he's retiring in a few years. So it's now or never for them. And I think they're going to fall off. So I think it's most important right now for the Braves. And with the Mets injured, with that rotation injured like it was, I know they're holding it down with the dub tonight. I give a little worry to them and the Phillies.
Yes, I could see that. Sid, how you feel?
I think Courtney said it the last time we were all together. The Phillies window was closed. I truly believe that. And if it's not the case, I'm willing to eat those words later. Just like there's a lot of money tied up in some older guys. There's just so much like that, and not a lot of their acquisitions have gone right. Their bullpen is a mess. So I think like this stretch of baseball. Sure, do I think the Phillies could still win the NL East? Absolutely. Like any one of these three teams can. But yeah, and then when it comes to the Braves, I think like now we're seeing, what an aggressive Braves team looks like when you can't rely on like the yearly acquisitions of like Jorge Soler, Jock Peterson, and like Ahmed Rosario. So it'll be an interesting thing. And then the Mets, like I said, I'm pretty sure I sent it to you guys, but I'm officially on trade deadline watch, which means I will be watching other teams besides the Mets to see what teams I want to take from. So right now I'm thinking Ryan O'Hearn. How much does your soul cost? Cedric Mullins. Feel free to pull up with him. Yeah, I Eugenio Suarez. I need to know how we can get you to the Mets. Tyler McGill, I'm so sorry, brother. I love you. But I think it might be time for a change of scenery. So there's just a lot of different things going on. But I think at the end of the day, these three teams are going to be at each other's necks. But I think that it'll come down to the Braves and the Mets being the top two.
Yeah. Like I said, there's always a run coming from the Braves. It's just a matter of when. So that's always been my thing. Courtney, I'll ask you the same thing. How do you think this NL East run is going to shape out as we head into the trade deadline?
I think the Mets are going to get it together. I still don't believe in the Phillies. I still think that the Mets are going to win this division, period. And I don't think that the Braves are going to be able to recover. And I don't know if there are any moves that you can make to make up that ground. It's like there's just too many competitive teams. No one's going to be selling. I don't think it matters. And I hate to say that. Because I think it would be more fun if the Braves were better than they are. Like, yeah, this series has been fantastic. But I don't think it matters. And I think the Mets will figure it out.
I mean, they have to. Like, you don't waste this season. Like, I don't know what that looks like long term because the Dodgers are exactly, the Dodgers, but you don't waste this season, especially when you have a chance to propel yourself like this. Yeah. MLB OPS leaders in June. Juan Soto, 1238. Yeah.
Was that 2 years ago? He said they were all in this year. Or that was last year? He said they were.
That was 2 years. That was the 2020 or 2024. It was 2024. They said 2025 and 2026 was going to be the all-in year. And even then, I don't even think this is close to all-in because, like,
we'll see. Give him a few weeks.
From being around so much Mets stuff from this point, we know David Stearns is the pitching guy. And so the Mets have a very interesting batch of prospects that are coming up. All of the pitching variety. There's Brandon Sproat, there's Noah McLean, who was just converted from a 2-way to a 1-way. There's Jonah Tong, there's Blade Tidwell, who's gotten 2 starts. All of these guys, they expect to be some form of pitcher. There's Christian Scott, who had the Tommy John, who was pitching to a 3.43 ERA. I think across like 9 starts before he went down with Tommy John. So like, I think like what the Mets do now is that they're probably gonna ride out this wave of contracts with like their pitching guys, and then after this, like 2026, 2027. I think that's when like they're gonna start like throwing the bag at position players, because after that, like you got either you'll have Pete Alonso or you won't. You'll have an answer about who Mark Vientos is or you won't. There's a lot that you can do with when you have homegrown pitching.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. It's gonna be interesting to see. I agree. I think neither one of these teams will be selling. And so it's gonna be a dogfight going down the stretch. But let's go on to our next topic. We're gonna switch it up a little bit. It's baseball related, but it's not, on-field activities. We've often talked about the exploitation of Dominican players and players in that system, and they're finally starting to fight back. Fernando Tatis Jr. he filed a lawsuit against Big League Advance. Because what Big League Advance is, it's a organization that's, of course, run by a former major league player, where they give players a $2 million advance in exchange for an agreement that says, if you make the big leagues, I get 10% of your career earnings. So as we all know, Fernando Tatis signed a $340 million contract. So now he's on the hook for $34 million to Big League Advance, which he said was, an exploitative deal. He used the $2 million to get a house and train and, prepare while he was going to the league. Now, the catch in all of this, where I think Big League Advance actually has a point, there's a caveat in this deal that all of these players sign, and that caveat is if you don't make the league, you don't owe us anything. If you the 10% only comes in if you make the major league. So they're saying it's not a predatory loan at all. We're investing in you, and if that investment pays off, we want ROI on our investment. So I wanted to ask the group, like I said, we know what goes on in the DR, but knowing everything about what this actual agreement was, does Fernando have a point, or is it nah, bro? You gotta pay what you owe. You gotta pay what you owe. Courtney, I'm gonna start with you.
I need to hear it.
Okay, Sid, we're gonna see it first.
I'm not gonna be the first person to speak.
Go ahead. And we put you on ISO cam.
Oh, hey. What are they doing? Okay, hold on.
If you need a second, I am happy to.
Yeah,
please. Maybe we have conflicting opinions. Because
maybe we do.
Something real controversial, yet extremely brave.
No, okay. I'm going to be controversial and brave here. I hate to say this.
Yep.
Fernando Tatis, what are you doing, my bro?
Yep. Thank you.
Your father is Fernando. Okay. I understand the methodical and pyramid-esque scheme that we are running as the Major League Baseball in the Dominican Republic. At some point, we have to do something better for these players, which we are taking our time to do. Like, that is a big part of what Francisco Lindor does. This is a big part of what a lot of these guys do in the MLB Players Association, so that actual predatory deals can stop like things from happening. This is not the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth time we have heard something fairly questionable from the camp of Fernando Tatis. Yeah. So I think you should just pay that $34 million and just get everyone to shut up, because you're not going to miss it. And if you do miss it, you signed for 10% of your career. Like, did you not believe in yourself? Like, did you?
For me, Sid, it's okay. Like, listen, I feel like I've never had to take out, it's not like student loans, right? Like, where people take it and then realize, oh shit, I actually have to pay this back, right? And then some interest. Like, I don't want to compare it to that, because obviously that's a means to an end. Your father was a Major League Baseball player. You are, fortunately for you, Fernando Tatis Jr., you weren't in the same position as other minor leaguers who were working their way up. So this, in his statement where he's like, oh, I have it pulled up because I didn't want to misspeak and misquote him, where he said, I'm fighting this battle not just for myself, but for everyone still chasing their dream and hoping to provide a better life for their family. I want to protect those young players who don't yet know how to protect themselves from these predatory lenders and illegal financial schemes. Nothing about these people giving you money in advance, which is literally in the name, Big League Advance, BLA, that's what the A stood for, was advance. They weren't just giving you $3 million as a, oh, you know what, we got you, we believe in you. When you make it back, you can give us $3 million back. No, they gave you this money with the promise of, hey, this guy's going to be a stud. No one just gives anybody $3 million. There was no trickery afoot. There were no shenanigans pulled on anybody. You took that money because from what he said, his own words is, oh, he wanted to get a better apartment and he wanted to work on his diet. First off, and again, I am not saying at all that minor leaguers aren't entitled to better conditions. But again, Fernando Tatis Jr. was not just a normal guy coming up from the Dominican.
Was he a minor leaguer very long?
Pardon?
Was he a minor leaguer very long?
No.
Well, he was in the White Sox system for a second, then we traded him, and then he got called up. So I think it was like 2.5 years or something like that.
But either way, like, you're not the standard minor leaguer. So I don't like this idea of a woe is me, like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this would be the case. Listen, you just have a regret now. That's okay to regret the fact that you signed on the dotted line, not knowing that like you said, did you not know that you would be in this position? You were a highly touted prospect, bro. The market reflected that. You were rewarded handsomely. And again,
for a very short amount of service time, by the way.
And
very short amount of service time.
This company exists and has supported hundreds of players before. And again, we only know about the big names, right, who have worked with this company and the guys who have tried to sue them, like Francisco Mejia, the catcher for the Rays, who also used to be a catcher for the Padres. Franmil Reyes, who also used to be with the Padres.
Okay, so is there a pattern here? Like it? What?
I mean, you have, again, it goes back to the conversation about maybe interactions with certain families and what might be better. Again, this is me just speculating. This is all complete speculation on my end and not to be taken as gospel.
Yeah, is Senior a trainer in any aspect? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I know of. I'm sure he probably
he works for guys, but he's not really a trainer.
It's a small island. He probably,
Gotcha.
When you're a big leaguer, I'm sure you get all the respect.
Fraternity of people.
Correct.
Obviously, you're in people's ears somewhere. Gotcha. I just know, the Holiday.
Yeah, and
Matt
again,
Holiday. He's like
there's
a
nothing
trainer.
wrong with wanting to regret. But if somebody's like, "Yo, I'll give you $1,000 if I know you're good for it. If you give me $5,000 when you get it back." It's not their fault that I agreed to those terms. I agreed to the terms, so I owe you your money back. No matter how much I regret it when the time comes.
You're not wrong, Malik. How you feel, bro?
I agree with y'all. He finessed himself. I don't think he ever thought he'd see $100 million. What does he? I can't even think of the number. I think it's more than $100 million that he got in the bank. So he's gonna have to take this L. Maybe there is something that they can get where you hit a certain amount where you're not paying $34 million, because that is life-changing money for a guy who will never get. He probably won't get any major brand deals. I don't think after the steroid. I mean, he has a sneaker, a brand. He's with a company, but I don't think he'll ever get any crazy money. So yeah, 34 mil is gonna hurt. But yeah,
is it though? Like when you make $340 million a year, $34 million. I don't think it like.
And it's 340 on your first deal. That's my thing. It's like he's gonna get another deal. Like,
he's gonna get an extension in like 4.5 years. And it's gonna be a super high AAV because he's gonna be like 32 when he signs it.
And you know who I thought about
But the problem is that they get a cut of that as well. It's not just the first contract.
But that's not even the problem.
Of all of his future
it's 10% of your future earnings. Yeah, it's 10%.
Oh, well.
We locked in, big dog. I need 10 from everything.
Oh well. The only reason I don't.
So and mind you, let's not act like this. Like this company was founded by a former Major League Baseball player. He's had over 900 clients. 900 of them haven't turned out to be Fernando Tatis Jr.
So why would you let it go? Yeah,
because you gotta think he's taking up like the money he is getting, he's putting that back into the program. So he's not just eating off of it.
In his attempt to find a Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
And now he's got a Fernando Tatis Jr. And it's his fault that you're having regrets because you signed a contract.
Hey, sorry about it, Nando.
I too would have regrets if I promised 1/10 of my earnings to somebody. But that's the price that you paid when you wanted to go down this road. You, as you said, wanted a better dietitians, access to better nutritionists. You wanted a nicer apartment. You wanted all of these things. You got them. They paid for it. But now you have to pay the piper.
Yeah. So I think to close this, you know who was a victim? Yasiel Puig. They were trying to kill him. Like, he got smuggled by the cartel. That's a victim.
Brother, you
were helped, brother. Like, you were helped, and now it's time to pay what you owe.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Like he was involved with like the FBI. Like that was like
his got deep. He got deep and dark.
It's actually, if you would like to read it, I own it back here on my shelf. The Best Team Money Can Buy by Molly Knight. She was very into the Astros cheating scandal and all that, but this book in particular, she highlights some of the crazy stuff that went down and how the Dodgers worked overtime to help him both physically and his family as they were obviously escaping and evading Cuba. Very interesting stuff.
So I'm going to send you the book that Andy Martino wrote on the Astros cheating scandal from the Yankees side.
Okay.
And you're going to send me that book, and we're going to have a baseball book club, and that's just how that's going to work from now on.
Let's go. Perfect. Perfect.
Love that.
All right, bet. So, we're going to move on. Like I said, pay your money, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, what? And this next topic, it kind of sucks. I'll be brief on it. We don't really have to spend too much time on it. But, Ketel Marte, somebody in the crowd, as usual, it's been happening over the last few years. We've seen fans get a lot more aggressive and just ignorant with the statements they make. And somebody referenced his mother passing in a car crash, and he was visibly emotional in the field about it. Fan was ejected, and he has been banned from all major league ballparks indefinitely, as he should, because I think we're at a point now where you have to start setting the tone. It's kind of like with where in the industry I work in, that you all know about this, it's called the no-fly list. Once you get on that list, you don't want to be on that list. So you have to start taking things away from people. And so for this guy, who's a 22-year-old fan, who to his credit acknowledged, did apologize, said, yeah, bro, I did say it. I shouldn't have done it. But now you have to pay the cost. So I just want to swing it around real quick. How you all feel about this situation and just fan behavior over the past few years as a whole? Courtney, I'll start with you.
As someone that's worked in sports for nearly a decade, I've worked for countless teams across across a couple, different entities. So, hockey and baseball. I want to say, and again, I've done this for almost a decade. It's been the past maybe like 5 years. It's gotten so bad. And I have to be honest, I don't want to say, excuse me, that, correlation necessarily equals causation, but the uptick in gambling and sports betting and toxic fandom have, I think, really allowed people to get entirely too comfortable, just even with the way that they go on onto people's Instagram, like the wives of Major League Baseball pitchers or hitters. Someone didn't hit a home run, you're gonna go find that man's wife and dox her and threaten them. We heard it happen to Lance McCullers a couple of months ago, where after his poor start, mind you, dude just came back after struggling for 2.5 years to get back on the mound for your team. You go find his wife's Instagram and start sending them death threats. We need help. We need a full plague, a factory reset as a people, if we think that that's acceptable behavior. Again, hats off to the White Sox and to Major League Baseball for acting so quickly. That guy does not deserve the privilege of being able to access a live Major League Baseball game. If you want to enjoy it, watch it from the bar, because you've lost that privilege. And because that's exactly what it is. It is a privilege to be able to go to a Major League Baseball game or to any sporting event. So good fucking riddance. We won't miss you.
Syd, how you feel, bro?
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. There needs to be a bigger barrier between the people who are allowed access to athletes in this way. And I really think this is a media thing as well. I firmly believe as we get further away from sports journalism and get more into sports content as things go, people give themselves the license to speak to players any type of way for the sake of content, for the sake of anything, trying to break through into getting into journalism, to which I have to say, don't do that. We're so much better than that. If you want, the privilege and access and right of working for these leagues or around these leagues or discussing these leagues, you have to have the same respect for, the players who play in it as you would anyone else that because that's their job, it's your job. We always say it, but how insane would it be if your job could just let hecklers in? That would be insane. So yeah, no, hats off to the league and everyone for getting rid of that shit, because absolutely not.
Malik, close us out, bro.
Yeah, man, gambling culture ruins sports, and we're really close to having another baseball's version of Malice at the Palace. You said it, Rendon had the incident where he grabbed a fan and almost smacked him. And then we had Dennis Santana get suspended last week for the exact same thing. Somebody talking crazy about his family in the bullpen. I know it gets crazy, hits the trenches, especially in those bullpens and in those outfield spots. I can't imagine this type of stuff some people hear. And it's not 1942 no more, where, they was caught saying what they were saying to Jackie and all those guys, man. There's going to be somebody one day who beats the shit out of somebody, and they're going to lose out on so many $1 million. And it ultimately won't be worth it for them. But a lot of fans are terrible, and you hit it on the head. It's the gambling culture. It's the parlay culture that some of these, it's something with their mental.
Yeah, bro. Because I think about it, I remember when Marcus Smart was at Oklahoma State, he went to the crowd when somebody said the N-word to him. And that was like a really, really big thing because we hadn't seen the system malice. I know when Antonio Davis played for the Bulls, somebody said something to his wife and he walked up the stairs. And like you said, with the gambling culture, we've seen it with Russell Westbrook where he's almost slapped several people. But just the disrespect, and a lot of time it's been unprovoked. And it's gotten to a point where people feel like because they paid the price of entry that they can say whatever they want to say. And it's like, we've seen this in every arena where people have really just started to abuse the First Amendment. And first of all, the First Amendment protects you from free speech, from government interference in what you say, which means the government can't just come grab you, even though they've been doing it lately anyway. They're not supposed to be able to do that. It is
freedom of speech does not equate to freedom of consequence.
Yes.
You can still get banned from ballparks, and you can still catch these fucking hands.
It does not mean that you have free reign to say whatever you want to say whenever you want to say it. And a lot of people take it as that, and that's not what it is. So hopefully these sports leagues continue to punish people. Like I said, you can still be a fan, still boo, still heckle. Most players don't mind that either because they're all in the zone anyway. So it's just when you get disrespectful and start talking about people's families and dead relatives and things like that, it's just too far. It's just too far, and it's definitely unnecessary. But we have now reached a much more happy part of the show, our favorite part, the series to watch this weekend. We got a lot of great baseball, man. We're getting closer and closer to All-Star break. Next week, we'll finally do our official All-Star episode, let you know everything we're feeling about what's going into that process. But let's start with our series to watch. I'm going to go around the horn, at least the way I see it on my screen. So I'm going to start with Malik. Malik, what you got for us this week?
I'll be at Rangers versus Mariners this weekend. A few TBDs on that rotation for Seattle. But Friday night, Logan Gilbert versus Nathan Eovaldi. Evo returns to the rotation after missing his last 2 starts with a shoulder injury. Seattle's 5-1 against Texas this year, ahead of them in the AL West. Both teams trailing the Astros, who are 1 inning away from a dub against the Phillies. Always love the Rangers-Mariner matchups. The Mariners have owned them since I've been covering the Rangers, which was like 2021, 2022. So we'll see if anything switches around this time. Cal Rayleigh, shout out Cal.
Yeah, he's a fucking dog, bro. Sid, what you got for us this week?
We got Mets and Pirates. We will be missing Paul Skeens. Like Courtney said earlier, there are 2 TBDs on this side from the Pirates. So we got Mitch Keller in 1, but then we got Paul Blackburn for us, David Peterson, who's been our guy, pitching to a 2.98 ERA. And then we got Frankie Montas going again. Excited to see what that brings. The Pirates played us really tough earlier this year. I'm pretty sure we lost a series to them. But, this could also be a get-right game. We just beat the Braves. So we got another one versus the Braves, and then we're up against Pittsburgh. So this is probably the time to have a get-right game, have a get-right series. And maybe, just maybe, Pittsburgh is only 5 hours away. If I can get off work, I might drive to go see the Mets.
Yeah, all right, that would be dope. Courtney, what you got for us?
So the one to watch for me is Cubs Astros this weekend. As echoing exactly what Sid said, a bunch of TBDs on both sides. I'm kind of hypothesizing here. I'm thinking Walter might start for the Astros on Friday, and then Ryan Gusto on Saturday. Again, bunch of question marks for the Cubs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and even Sunday for the Astros as well. Someone just went yard. Is that Victor Caratini? Ooh. Yes, it is Victor Caratini. Just went yard for the Astros. I kind of want to highlight a couple of guys for the Astros who have been doing amazing over the past month. Christian Walker has been heating up. I know I said that they needed his bat to get hot, and it has absolutely gotten hot. He has a 762 OPS with 5 home runs in the past 30 days. In that same span, Altuve has a 302 batting average and a 901 OPS. Pena with a 384 batting average and an over 1,000 OPS right now. The team as a whole, again, in the past 30 days, 7th in OPS, 5th in runs, 3rd in batting average, 7th in home runs. And again, they have been doing this while their entire team has essentially been taped together with like chewing gum and paper clips. So everyone should be very afraid. Lance McCullers just threw BP today. Spencer Arrighetti threw BP today. Christian Javier threw BP, live BP today. Luis Garcia threw live BP yesterday. Yordan Alvarez threw to the bases yesterday or today and hit in the cages today. The reinforcements are coming for the Houston Astros, and we should respectfully all be terrified.
I mean, given everything we've seen with that team over the years, absolutely, I can agree 100%. As for me, I will be in the building this weekend. We got Braves versus Phillies. If I'm the Braves, you have to win tomorrow, me being Thursday, against the New York Mets, because you can't sweep them and then just come back and give them 2 out of 3. Like, that's kind of counterproductive to what you're trying to do when you're trying to dig out of a hole. I understand you have to play them again, but at the same time, no, you need to take 2 out of 3 here and continue that streak and actually go into this Philly series with some momentum. All the pitching matchups are TBD right now. I think that was as we know, that was the reason Chris Sale skipped the start and pitched in New York so they can have him for this Philly series. So I'm assuming right now he could probably go game 2 based off when he pitched in New York. But this is going to be a really good series, man. And I think if you're the Braves, you have to keep stacking not just wins, but series wins. So this is one where you have to go take 2 out of 3. Obviously a sweep would be perfect, but 2 out of 3 against a team that is ahead of you. And, it would be helping the Mets, but also helping yourself. So until you can get to a point where you just, like you said, squared off with the Mets and it's just you two, you have to go take care of business. So this is another way to start that. And being at home, it's hot as hell in Atlanta. So, like, the ball is going to be flying. We've had, like, a lot of, like, heat warnings and telling everybody stay inside and all of that. So being out there is going to be tough. But fortunately, I only have to be out there for pregame, and then I get to go sit down. But the ball's definitely going to be flying. And I think they're going to be able to put up a lot of runs. It all depends on the matchups that we get. But I think this is going to be another good series like we always get between these NL East matchups. And I think the Braves should be able to take 2 out of 3 here. So that's all I got. That's all we got. And as usual, we are very, very happy that you decided to tune into this. You'll be getting it on Friday. As you all know, we drop every Friday. And like we say, man, anything you want to hear from us, anything you want to talk about, let us know. Send us a comment. We all respond to DMs. Be respectful in Courtney's DMs, please. And no, you have to say that these days. You have to let people know, bro. Like, this is a baseball show.
I don't like to call people out, but I have gotten some weird DMs since
exactly. We have to be talking about baseball, people. But no,
since we started the show, that's crazy.
Yeah,
in 11
since we started this particular show.
Oh, I was about to say. In 11
yeah.
episodes, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but
that's territory.
It's the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, like we said, 1-800-CALLER BRO _team mail Malik with another great interview at the ballpark. Make sure you check out his YouTube page /Sid/Park. Check out my boy. We got a bourbon plug for you people. We're gonna start talking about this because we want everybody to be cultured and do the things that we do. We have a lot of fun, and I feel like we need to share that with the people. So we're gonna get back into that. You know where to follow me at, man. October's on say. Follow Barbershare Network at Barbershare Co. on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Barbershare Network. I already told you about the tiers and how many we got and how cheap they are. So just go take a look for yourself. If you want any merch, make sure you check out bcnetshop.com. And for everything Barbershare, like I said, Bears OTAs are wrapping up. We're getting into training camp. We're trying to get some more teams on that training camp list. Stay tuned for that. But just make sure you check in with us at the bcnet.com. We recently had a little revamp. Things are looking a little different. Check it out. Let us know what you think. And make sure, like we say, for all baseball things related, you check in with the High and Outside podcast. And we'll see y'all next week.